And a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us for another live episode of Conversations with Michael. And we're streaming live here today from our home studio in the beautiful, cloudy Oregon Willamette Valley. Once again here, waiting for that sun to come through. We come together every month to celebrate this really unique opportunity that all of us that are choosing to embrace this opportunity to integrate the very energetic presence of our soul within this human experience. Wow. Have to just keep saying that. Wow. Because it's not a very popular choice. Well, for a lot of different reasons. But for those that have a real, true passion for taking that deep dive into their own inner reality, well, the human soul relationship ends up offering the ride of your life. It's not only the most fulfilling relationship for the human identity that we'll ever experience, but it allows you to experience as well all the divine qualities of being the creator of your own experience. And of course, there's a downside. There is a downside because you're going to experience a tremendous amount of changes in your body, relationship in particular to your mind, and into your emotions in order to just accommodate the presence of your own soul. So our joy here, Koken and I here at Ancient Wings and the teachings of Michael, our joy is to help guide you through that process within a variety of heart-based programs and services. So let's take a deep breath there. As we come together as we do each month, collectively with those of us who have been following the teachings of Michael for many years. For those of you that are new to these teachings, you're all welcome. You know, if you're looking for the quick fix or some kind of magic pill, well, you're going to be a little disappointed in how we approach this whole human soul relationship. Because the presence of consciousness offers unlimited resources to create any version of reality that you want to experience at no charge. It's completely free. But, and here's the downside, it can feel like you're paying a high price to the human mind, to the ego. Because there's a lot of control issues with that part of us that in the end eventually returns to the role it was originally designed to serve. So most of the folks we have the honor of serving have chosen to approach this type of relationship by befriending nature. And from my own experience, and those that we have the honor of working with, nature actually works beautifully as a companion during the entire awakening process. You're not as so easily distracted by all the human stories and all the drama, but we're also aware that a lot of folks will experience this shift through the ever-changing technology that is literally bombarding our planet as I speak. But that requires a very, very mature approach. Because like anything, if the tools that you are using are misused, well, in this case, the potential side effects can be devastating to the mind and to your own body. In a way, this is why so many of us are here at this time. Our approach might be considered to be more organic or natural, but the influence consciousness can have on any environment, no matter its source, is just simply amazing. The ability to work with very subtle energies, they can greatly enhance your human experience beyond anything you've ever witnessed before. So these are amazing times, my friends. I also know that the current state that we are all experiencing can be unsettling, can be boring, and it raises a lot of questions. But in my relationship with Michael, he is very emphatic that our role, no matter what happens on this planet, is simply to continue to provide solutions through our own radiance and within our own creations. And I know that can feel a little boring to our mind. Not much drama involved with just shining your light. So let's take a deep breath as we feel into the global group of like-minded souls that have come together here to celebrate these times together, and feel all the support that is being shared between each other through our own radiance with one another, acting as supports to one another. Very good. And if you're open to it, you're welcome to allow Michael as well to share his own light, his own radiance with any of you, whether you've been working with us or you're new to this. He's very much involved with this transformation here on earth. And it can be a very personal relationship with him if you allow him to support you, not to do anything for you, but certainly to support you during these times. So, before I turn this over to Michael, let's take a peek at a few of our upcoming online events, all of which have been designed to help you integrate the presence of your soul during these intense times of transformation. And of course, if you'd like more information about any of these live streaming events, feel free to visit our website. You can also go to our resource page on our website, and there I have listed all the resources I use to help enhance our presentation here. I freely share that with any of you if you're interested in doing some of this work for yourself as well. We also recently presented a live bi-monthly class titled Being the New Human. This class is for members of our Masters Unplugged program. And as usual, Michael was very passionate about all the new opportunities that face any awakened human being and the rest of humanity at this time. It might not feel that way for a lot of people. Well, for those that are in the final stages of integrating the presence of their soul, it's natural to experience a lot of underlying, unresolved emotions that begin to naturally surface that really don't dance well with your freedom. In fact, they're not allowed to be a part of that freedom. And as well for our collective human family, who have been, well, in a state of survival for a very, very long time, relying on whatever support they can find outside of themselves. But Michael insists that we will look back at this time we are living in right now and remember it as being a major turning point for all of humanity. So we have created here a short preview of being the new human, and let's watch that right now. Very good. So we have a very large global group of fellow creators with us today. In fact, looks like we've got a record number here. Those who have chosen to live their life consciously, those that awaken to the presence of their soul, well, some time ago. And now, well, now you're allowing that very presence to also be a part of this human experience. It's not an easy choice. And from my own experience, it's really awkward for our human self to accommodate all the rapid fire changes. But I also know that a time will come for any of you, all of you, when your own presence just begins to settle into your body. So, our work with each of you is simply to help prepare you for that moment in your life. We've referred to this type of preparation as being the foreplay stage between two lovers, and in this case, between your soul and your human. And from our perception, you've been in this foreplay mode for a very, very long time. Perhaps every lifetime you've been here on Earth. But now you're about to enter the orgasmic phase, which is really good news to different parts of you and not so good to others. The timing of this type of orgasm is really not up to your human self. The human doesn't decide when the soul fully embodies, nor is it up to the human self to decide when to leave this planet. That's been a topic that's been on social media here for a while. So, on that note, let's take another deep breath as I, Robert, do as I always love doing, as I step aside a little bit and simply allow Michael to blend, merge deeper with my own body, to share his own unique perspective in service to your own freedom, to your own joy. A relationship that indeed is available to any of you. Call it whatever you want. I call it a relationship. Indeed. Indeed. Thank you, Robert. It is I, Michael. I speak for a lot of my fellow creators on my side of the veil because we've been waiting for this day for a very, very long time. To say that we are absolutely overjoyed with so many new ripe possibilities and opportunities, well, that's putting it mildly. My friendship or relationship with so many beings has shifted dramatically just over the last few months, especially with those of you that have ties to the family of Michael, the family of Michael, a very proud, a very large spiritual family, known to other families as ones who would protect the truth and go to battle if needed to protect the innocent. And there's certainly a lot of you within all of creation, within this relationship you have embraced as a human being with your soul. All of you have changed these codependent bonds within all of these spiritual families. By doing that, from our perspective, you have blessed every single being with an opportunity to reclaim what? To reclaim what we have described as the original gift given to every soul being from the Eternal One, handed down eons ago when we left the kingdom. My joy is Michael, is to remind you of your own divine presence, one that has no judgment, no agenda. It simply enjoys experiencing life, all for the joy of being itself, as itself. To your human self, well, this just sounds like a really bad case of feeling entitled. We get it. We get it. Something that only a super rich and powerful human being could ever possibly afford. So we've been working on all those underlying beliefs you accommodated that suggest you don't deserve such a freedom. But when such a presence ends up in your body with you, all those outdated beliefs simply can't make sense of what you're about to experience. So we have been preparing you as best we can for what has already been created by your own soul and your eternal self. And as you have heard over and over and over again, dear human, it's not up to you to try to become what you already feel to be true in your own heart. It's your job to live your life consciously, not perfectly, but certainly consciously. Because that is the way, that is the path of a true master in a human form. And one of the most conscious choices you could have ever made was to allowing your inherent ability to be in receivership. Now we know from both your human and soul's perspective, you have a long history of receiving from other creators what your heart never desired or even asked for. So you created a variety of very codependent relationships to try to counteract such an experience. It never really occurred to you that you were actually attracting these very experiences from within you. It got so convoluted, so reactionary based, that you completely lost sense of this very pure and simple presence that has always existed within you. One that was always living alongside the variety of experiences all of you have engaged in, both on this planet and off of it. But that too has changed. Living alongside you no longer was enough. So you helped to create this beautiful planet called Earth. Why? So you could acknowledge in slow motion how you have been creating your own experience. And of course, you only knew what you knew. So you recreated a lot of the same conflicted stories here on Earth. You created divisions between other soul beings. You found yourself once again drawing lines in the sand. In this case, those lines turned into borders that helped to define what became known as your own countries. The countries themselves became an extension for many different spiritual families, all supported by a variety of non physical beings who use this very opportunity to support and project their own agenda. You can see this playing out on this planet as we speak. It's been an incredible and at times very confusing, exhausting, and frustrating experience. There have been times when it did indeed appear that all indeed was lost. Most recently on this planet, during your last two world wars. But something changed. It had to change. There was but a few that had the courage to create the change by allowing a particular energy, one that embraced change itself as being sacred, to begin to serve you in this human vessel as a human being. And of course, this 3-part class is now streaming inside the Masters Unplugged program, our monthly subscription program. Members have unlimited access to this and all of our past live streaming events in over 10 video libraries. And you're welcome to try it out for just $9.95 for the first month and see if it's a good fit for you. Very good. So let's take our collective deep breath again and feel into all the energies that are here today to serve us. We are never alone, ever. There is always a wealth of support for anyone who is willing to receive it. Unfortunately, most of us forgot the art of being in receivership. It's not something your mind can do for you. It's more of a heartfelt relationship to life. I knew early on in my own life that something was missing, like all of you have felt. I spent most of my life within a variety of different spiritual teachings, looking for that missing piece. But it didn't reveal itself until I finally took that deep dive into myself. And what I discovered kind of blew me away. My joy is now to share that realization. If my service had been just about me, well, I would have found a really nice cozy cave somewhere in the Himalayas and probably just blissed out for the rest of my life. But much to my surprise, with a little bit of kicking and screaming, I discovered my true passion for openly sharing my relationship with Michael. So on that note, as I always do, I once again step back as Robert and allow another part of me, Michael, to share his own perspective with all of you. Let's just take another collective deep breath with this. Indeed. Indeed, it is I, Michael. As simple and as natural as that. For those of you that are new to our work, welcome. You are deeply honored. And we are not sharing what for most would be considered a channeled message from a non-physical being. Nothing wrong with that, but Robert decided some years ago to allow me to play a more integral role in his own life, primarily through my own energetic presence. What he discovered is indeed he is not alone. On this path of living your life consciously, you discover that your natural state really is not as a singular being. That realization truly is not easy on your mind, as so many of you have already discovered. Oh, it's fairly easy to acknowledge that part of you that played the role as a child, its presence, and all those experiences, they still impact your life as an adult. It's not too difficult to acknowledge the adolescent part of you that's still living inside of you. It too is influencing your current experience. But when we then include your past lifetimes, or even those parts of your own soul that have never experienced being human, well, that can be a real stretch for the mind and for those who really don't embrace or even believe in this whole thing called reincarnation. My relationship with all of you extends beyond what your human identity knows or accepts. For a long time, you were asked to believe in a lot of spiritual truths at face value. But the awakened human being has embraced a state of consciousness that now insists that for it to be real, it also must be experienced. Good for you. Good for you. So here we are at today, with all the challenges that face your planet. It feels to many like your life is kind of stuck, but you're really not sure what is blocking it. It can feel like the life you once knew, the story you created, is beginning to dissolve. That's not good news to your mind. Without your conscious permission. But the very presence of consciousness is now at an all-time high on this planet. It's changing everything. It's changing the energy of the planet itself. For those that are awakened, well, this is the time for that full body integration with your soul. You've been working on this for some time. You've been working on this every single lifetime. It almost sounds too good to be true. It became a little addictive to always be searching for that missing piece in your own movie, in your own creation. But now you found it. Not from all your searching, but simply because you got tired of spending so much time and energy looking outside of you. Let's take a breath there. So you changed course. You decided to take the easy path. You allowed it to come to you. The missing piece, your non-physical counterpart in relationship with your human experience. And this, dear ones, is a very, very rare experience. Over time, it's been labeled many things and inspired many others. Unique individuals, all responding to that inner call to be what? To be free. But there has never been a group of human beings who collectively responded to this call as you're seeing that right now, today. In a way, this represents the first chapter in your new story here on Earth. And for the collective consciousness of your human family, it also represents a new chapter. Initially, that too will be called freedom. But this call for freedom once again becomes externalized, because it's so much easier to see it outside of yourself if you haven't yet reclaimed such a freedom from within. A freedom that transcends all those underlying conflicted energies, all the doubts, all the guilt, all the shame that serve to always keep your freedom at arm's length. The family of humanity, they've been fighting for such a freedom for a very long time. By recreating the past that also existed in the stars before Earth was even created. All those unresolved issues have helped to create the very world you're living in. All it took was a few human beings who were willing to take that deep dive into their own inner reality and to reclaim what they'd then discovered, that they too are spirit, incarnate, here on Earth, within this human experience. Another deep breath. An individuated version of the divine self, of the eternal one. This type of realization doesn't sit well with any collective system that supports itself from relying on that inner guilt and shame. So to say that you are at the very beginning of a new type of revolution is putting it mildly. It's a revolution that relies on the very presence of spirit to inspire change. It's a revolution that doesn't make itself right by making others wrong. It's completely devoid of the need to do battle with anyone. And for a planet that has endured countless battles in the name of freedom, in this new revolution, the archetypical warrior will be unemployed. A change was needed, dear ones. It's about time. Not because all of humanity, including any of you, was doing something wrong. Let's just be clear. You got bored playing inside the same movie every single lifetime. A movie that insisted that the major players continue to become power mongers or victims. A shift of consciousness has awakened upon this very planet. All it took was for a few to allow such a presence that we call Christ consciousness. To us, Earth, as we speak, is speaking or is experiencing at this moment the second coming of this consciousness, but not through one person, through thousands. They're not here to point fingers. They're not here to blame or to cast out those that are stuck in a role they've been playing all their life. They have opened their heart so as to shine such a light that has never been seen before. This light, however, isn't passive. It supports any heart-centered being and encourages those that feel stuck inside their own mind to also allow this light to now serve them. Now we know this can sound like a script for a new fairy tale. But the truth is, you're all exhausted from playing the power games. Any kind of game that extracted energy from another life in order to support itself, any game that would violate the sacredness of any being by taking from them what was not theirs to take. And so as we speak, look at your world all around you. You can see, as we do, an incredible number of highly creative human beings, filled to the brim with new ideas that are just waiting to become the new norm. The new norm isn't based on more control. The new norm isn't looking for the same players to play the same role over and over again. The new norm invites every single human being, perhaps for the first time, to begin to feel safe being human on planet Earth. There are a lot of stories that promote a lot of guilt and shame. But within the very presence of Christ's consciousness, those stories no longer serve a purpose. It's a win-win type of scenario where cooperation and mutual respect become the new standard. We can also see, as all of you do, a lot would need to change for this type of movie to become more than just a fairy tale. Indeed, it will require a completely new, refreshed support system, a support base that is actually capable of invoking whatever energy is needed to support your own creativity. That term, creativity, has been missing on this planet for a very long time. A support base that has no agenda, which means it is free to all beings. So there'll be, indeed, a renewed interest in consciousness itself. But for it to have any impact on your current reality, it must go beyond the search for the missing piece. It must become realized inside your human experience for it to be known. Not just as a concept, not just as a theory, but as a basic building block for all of creation, including your own creations. Dear one, your new story includes some incredible potentials, both from within your own state of consciousness and within the very form of what you call or consider to be a human being. Many will cry out that some humans are now pretending to play God. But within this new story, the very concept of God will also be re-examined. With the support of the light of Christ's consciousness, much will be revealed, which will invite humanity to forgive themselves of what? For trusting in the words of those in places of influence and power without truly feeling the very presence of what they might be speaking on behalf. So many new technologies will replace the need to consume raw materials from this planet. Nanotechnology will radically change all forms of life, including the physical body. But it will also displace many whose jobs were to help provide those raw materials for all of humanity. Your current technology, as it relates to the internet, has opened the world to everyone who owns a phone. And as your human race adapts to these rapid changes in this technology, many will be forced to also change their own life. Will they too be respected and honored? When power over others, including nature, is no longer the main theme on your planet, imagine all the changes to your governments, all your social and religious institutions. So as we speak, this is the time you've been waiting for. But it does demand of each of you to reimagine your own life, each and every day, in service to being a conscious creator of your own experience. Imagine how that would feel. And breathe that into your body. All the joy, all the new opportunities. For the awakened human being, you can now allow consciousness to literally serve you by imagining a life that is filled with passion. You won't find this feeling in your past. It's here now, in the form of your own soul nature. All of you that went through this whole awakening experience discovered some time ago that you are not your thoughts. That was a little troubling. Nor are you your emotions. That left you scratching your head. And the you that incarnated on this planet is not your mind. But that doesn't mean we disown, release, or get rid of the mind, it plays a vital role in the new story. But it no longer pretends to be you. You have so much to look forward to. Indeed. Don't let these underlying doubts, worries, and concerns take that away from you. As we feel that happening for a lot of you right now as we speak. Your service is to share what you're willing to feel about your own life, allowing that part of you that also exists as a non-physical presence to share its own perspective now inside of you. It represents the long-awaited sacred reunion that has been prophesied for thousands of years. This is the year that this all comes together for so many of you. You become the integrated human. Sounds like a good name for a workshop. And for some of you, the timing of this reunion will indeed be better served by waiting just a little longer. Place your trust not on your calendar, but in yourself. This isn't a race, and you won't be missing anything. It is an experience that has no end to it. A conscious creator embraces that very primal truth, knowing that you indeed are eternal. Not because they like how that sounds, but because they have also allowed the eternal part of themselves to also be inside this human experience. Such brave souls, all of you are. We know the world is filled with a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt. But is that really new? Hasn't that always been there, lifetime and life after lifetime? For the longest time, this planet has been well managed by a very mental construct of a reality, which replaced your own divine guidance with human emotions. Is there something else at play here that hasn't been considered by most of humanity? Does life just really happen to you in the form of a virus? Or is there also a part of you that indeed is immune to such things? So it's time for the family of humanity to take that deep dive into their own beliefs. Not all will, but the time for change, a major, dramatic change, has arrived. If the family of humanity is not going to participate in yet another power game, what else can they choose? Most of humanity has been seduced by a game called Follow the Leader. That game only becomes real when you don't trust yourself. Those of you that are at the forefront of living your life consciously, along the way, you encountered a wide variety of energies, all living inside of you, that made it very, very difficult to actually trust in self. But such a trust doesn't ever need to be led. Not by any leader on this planet or off of it. Your own intuitive abilities will never lie to you. They will never steer you down the wrong path, because they perceive reality from a very different vantage point than your mind. One that can perceive layers upon layers of different potentials, all being supported by consciousness itself. This presence has always been there, waiting to support your own creativity. This is the time, my friends, to reunite with your original base, your original support base, and then just watch what unfolds. You're going to be truly amazed at how beautiful this human soul relationship really is. It's why you kept coming back to this planet, lifetime after lifetime. And now it is here. Don't take our word for it. Create that experience for yourself. Relax and allow your own eternal self to become a part of this human experience right now, as we speak, with all our blessings to each and every one of you.